Vincent Torres wiped down the counter for the third time that morning. His movements automatic after 5 years of working at Sunrise Café. The small coffee shop on the corner of 5th and Madison barely made enough to cover his rent. But it was close to Sophie's school and the hours were flexible. At 28, his hands already showed signs of wear from endless shifts. But his smile remained genuine for every customer who walked through the door. The morning rush had just ended when the bell above the door chimed. Vincent looked up and felt his breath catch. A woman walked in wearing a tailored charcoal suit that probably cost more than his monthly salary. Her dark hair was pulled back in a sleek bun, and her heels clicked against the worn linoleum floor with authority. She moved with the kind of confidence that came from never having to worry about anything. The First Order Catherine Monroe surveyed the modest coffee shop with curiosity. Her driver had taken a wrong turn, and her usual espresso bar was 20 minutes in the opposite direction. She had a meeting in 15 minutes, and desperation had brought her here. The place was nothing like the polished establishments she frequented, but something about its warmth caught her attention. "Good morning," Vincent said, his voice friendly despite his exhaustion. "What can I get you today?" Catherine studied him for a moment. His eyes were kind, genuinely so, and there was something refreshing about the authenticity in his expression. In her world of corporate sharks and fake smiles, real kindness was rare. "Double espresso, please." "Make it strong." Vincent nodded and moved to the machine with practiced efficiency. As he worked, Catherine noticed a child's drawing taped to the wall behind the counter. It showed a stick figure man and a small girl holding hands under a rainbow. The crayon strokes were uneven but filled with innocent joy. "Your daughter's drawing?" Catherine found herself asking, surprising even herself with the personal question. Vincent glanced back with a proud smile that transformed his tired face. "Yes, that's Sophie. She's 6. She insists I bring her artwork to share with the customers. Says it makes them happy." An unexpected conversation. Catherine accepted her espresso and took a sip. It was perfect. Better than most expensive cafes she visited. She's right. It does make people happy. You must be proud. Something flickered across Vincent's face, a mixture of pride and worry. Every single day, she's my whole world. The way he said it made Catherine pause. There was weight in those words, the kind that came from being solely responsible for another human being. She recognized loneliness when she saw it because she lived with it every day, dressed up in designer clothes and corner offices. "You raise her alone?" The question came out before Catherine could stop herself. She never pried into strangers' lives, but something about this man's genuine warmth drew her in. Vincent hesitated, then nodded. Her mother left when Sophie was 2. Said being a parent wasn't what she signed up for. It's been just us ever since. Catherine felt an unexpected pang in her chest. That takes strength. Most people couldn't manage. "You do what you have to do for the people you love," Vincent replied simply, already preparing another customer's order. The phone call that changed everything. Catherine had just reached the door when Vincent's phone rang. She heard his sharp intake of breath, saw the color drain from his face. "What do you mean she's running a fever?" His voice cracked with panic. "How high?" "I'll be right there. Tell Mrs. Peterson to stay with her. I'm coming." He hung up and called out to the kitchen. "Rachel, I need to leave." Sophie's school called. "She's sick." A young woman emerged, concern on her face. Go. I'll handle the counter." "Is she okay?" "I don't know." "They said her fever is high." Vincent was already untying his apron, his hands shaking. Catherine watched this exchange, something stirring in her chest. She saw the terror in his eyes, the kind of fear that came from having everything you love depend on you and feeling powerless. A surprising offer before she could think better of it. Catherine walked back to the counter. "Excuse me, Vincent." He looked up, clearly trying to compose himself. "I'm sorry, ma'am. If you need a refill, Rachel can help you." "No, I heard about your daughter. Do you have a car?" Vincent shook his head. "I take the bus." "The school is 30 minutes away if the traffic is light." Catherine made a decision that would change all their lives. "I have a car waiting outside. Let me drive you. We'll get there in 10 minutes. Vincent stared at her as if she had spoken a foreign language. "I can't ask you to do that. You don't even know me." You're not asking. I'm offering. Your daughter is sick and needs you. That's all that matters right now. The drive Vincent sat in the back of Catherine's luxury sedan, feeling completely out of place against the leather seats. Catherine had instructed her driver to take them to Sophie's school with an urgency that surprised even the experienced chauffeur. Thank you, Vincent said quietly. You really didn't have to do this. Catherine looked at him, and for the first time, her carefully maintained professional mask slipped. When I was 8, I got sick at school. My parents were both in important meetings. No one came for 3 hours. I sat in the nurse's office terrified and alone. No child should feel that way. The vulnerability in her voice stunned Vincent. This powerful woman in her expensive suit carried her own scars. I'm sorry that happened to you. Don't be. It taught me what matters and what doesn't. Catherine paused. Your daughter is lucky to have you. Vincent felt tears prick his eyes, but fought them back. I just hope I'm enough. You are, Catherine said with unexpected certainty. Trust me, love like yours is worth more than anything money can buy. First impressions. They arrived at the school in record time. Vincent rushed inside, and Catherine found herself following, unsure why she felt compelled to see this through. In the nurse's office, a small girl with dark curls and flushed cheeks reached out the moment she saw her father. Daddy. Sophie's voice was weak but relieved. Vincent scooped her up carefully, pressing his hand to her forehead. I'm here, baby. Daddy's here. Catherine watched from the doorway, something breaking open inside her chest. The pure love between father and daughter was so raw, so real, that it hurt to witness. This was what she had been missing her entire life, connection that wasn't transactional, love that wasn't conditional. Sophie's eyes found Catherine over her father's shoulder. Who's the pretty lady, Daddy? Vincent turned, suddenly remembering Catherine's presence. This is Miss Catherine. She helped Daddy get here fast. Sophie managed a small smile despite her fever. Thank you for bringing my daddy. Catherine felt her throat tighten. You're very welcome, sweetheart. The beginning of something new in the hospital waiting room an hour later, Catherine sat beside Vincent as they waited for the doctor's assessment. She had canceled her meeting, something she never did, but leaving felt impossible. You should go, Vincent said. You've already done more than enough. I can't thank you enough. Catherine looked at this man who had worked himself to exhaustion for his daughter, who showed more strength in his kindness than all the corporate warriors she knew combined. I'd like to stay. If that's all right with you, Vincent studied her face, searching for ulterior motives but finding only genuine concern. Why are you doing this? You don't know us. Maybe that's exactly why. Catherine replied softly. Because you don't want anything from me except what I'm freely giving. Do you know how rare that is? The doctor emerged before Vincent could respond, and they both stood up. Sophie has a viral infection, but she'll be fine with rest and medication, the doctor assured them. Keep her home for a few days, plenty of fluids, and she'll bounce back. Relief flooded Vincent's face. Catherine felt it too, surprising herself with how much she had genuinely worried about a child she had just met. As they prepared to leave, Sophie reached out and took Catherine's hand along with her father's. Will you come visit me while I'm getting better? Catherine looked at Vincent, seeing the uncertainty and hope warring in his expression. She should say no. She should return to her carefully controlled life where emotions were managed and relationships were strategic. But looking at this little girl's hopeful face and her father's tired but kind eyes, Catherine found herself saying the one thing she never expected. Yes, Sophie, I'd love to. And in that moment, none of them realized that this simple agreement would transform all their lives in ways they couldn't imagine. The wealthy CEO and the struggling single father had just begun a journey that would challenge everything they thought they knew about love, family, and what truly mattered in life. 3 days after Sophie's hospital visit, Catherine found herself standing outside a modest apartment building in a neighborhood far from her penthouse downtown. She had told herself she was just checking on the child's recovery, being a responsible citizen. But the truth was more complicated. She had thought about Vincent and Sophie every day since that afternoon in the hospital. The building was old but clean, with children's bikes chained to the railings and the smell of home cooking wafting from open windows. Catherine climbed to the third floor, her designer bag feeling suddenly out of place, and knocked on apartment 3B. Vincent opened the door, surprise clear on his face. He was wearing jeans and a faded t-shirt, his hair still damp from a shower. "Miss Monroe, I didn't expect to see you. I brought soup," Catherine said, holding up a container from an expensive restaurant. "And some books for Sophie. How is she feeling?" Vincent's expression softened. "Much better. The fever broke yesterday. Please, come in." A different world. The apartment was small but filled with warmth. Children's drawings covered one wall like a gallery. Books were stacked on every available surface. The furniture was worn but comfortable, and everything was meticulously clean. Catherine felt something loosen in her chest. This was a home, truly a home, in a way her massive penthouse had never been. "Miss Catherine!" Sophie appeared from the bedroom wearing pajamas covered in butterflies. Her face lit up with genuine joy. "You came!" Catherine knelt down to Sophie's level. "I promised I would." "How are you feeling, sweetheart?" "Much better. Daddy made me soup and read me stories, and we watched movies together." Sophie took Catherine's hand without hesitation. "Do you want to see my room?" Vincent looked apologetic. "Sophie, maybe Miss Monroe doesn't have time." "I have time," Catherine heard herself say. She followed Sophie down the short hallway, aware of Vincent trailing behind them, uncertain and protective. Seeing through a child's eyes, Sophie's room was tiny but magical. Stars glow on the ceiling. Stuffed animals lined shelves made from old crates that Vincent had clearly painted and mounted himself. A small desk held crayons, papers, and half-finished drawings. "Daddy made everything himself," Sophie said proudly. "We don't have a lot of money, but Daddy says love makes things beautiful." Catherine felt tears threaten behind her eyes. "Your father is very wise and very talented. This room is wonderful." Sophie pulled out a drawing. "I made this for you, to say thank you for helping Daddy find me when I was sick." The picture showed 3 stick figures holding hands. A tall man, a small girl, and a woman with long dark hair. Above them, Sophie had written in uneven letters, "My family and Miss Catherine." Catherine's hands trembled as she took the drawing. "This is the most beautiful gift anyone has ever given me." "Really?" Sophie's eyes went wide. "But you're rich. You must get lots of presents." "None as special as this one," Catherine said truthfully. Opening up back in the living room, Vincent made coffee while Sophie returned to her bedroom to rest. The silence between them was comfortable but charged with unspoken questions. "She likes you," Vincent said finally. "Sophie is usually shy with new people. She's remarkable." "You've raised her beautifully." Vincent looked down at his coffee cup. "I do my best. Some days I wonder if my best is enough." Catherine set down her own cup. "May I ask you something personal?" "Go ahead. Do you ever regret it? Raising her alone? The sacrifices you've had to make?" Vincent looked at her directly, his eyes clear and honest. "Not for a single second. Sophie is the best part of me. Everything I do, every sacrifice, it's all worth it to see her smile." "You love her so completely," Catherine said softly. "That kind of love is rare." "What about you?" Vincent asked. "Do you have children?" Catherine's story. Catherine felt the familiar walls rising, but something about Vincent's open honesty made her want to share. "No, I was married once to a man named Benjamin Hayes. We were both focused on building empires. Children weren't part of the plan. Then I realized our marriage was just another business merger. There was no real love, no warmth, just 2 people coexisting for mutual benefit. That sounds lonely." It was. More than I admitted even to myself. Catherine paused. "When we divorced 3 years ago, I threw myself into work. I built my company into something powerful. But at the end of the day, I go home to an empty penthouse and wonder what I'm really building for." Vincent reached across the small coffee table and gently squeezed her hand. "You're more than your company, Catherine. You proved that when you helped a stranger and his sick daughter." The use of her first name sent warmth through her. "Thank you for letting me visit." "Thank you for wanting to." Regular visits over the next 3 weeks, Catherine's visits became routine. Every few days, she would appear at the apartment after work, sometimes with takeout, sometimes with books or art supplies for Sophie. She found herself looking forward to these evenings more than any business dinner or social event. Vincent was hesitant at first about accepting her help, but Catherine learned to frame things carefully. She wasn't giving charity. She was sharing friendship. She brought dinner because she hated eating alone. She brought Sophie gifts because the child brought her joy. "You don't have to keep doing this," Vincent said one evening after Sophie had gone to bed. "I know I don't have to," Catherine replied. "I want to." "Is that so hard to believe?" Vincent studied her face in the dim light of the living room. "People like you don't usually spend time with people like me. There's always an angle, something they want. What if all I want is this?" Catherine gestured around the modest apartment. "Real conversation? Genuine connection? A child's laughter that isn't calculated or performed?" Growing closer, Vincent leaned back against the couch, his defenses lowering. "I've been poor my whole life, Catherine. I know how the world works. Rich people don't befriend poor people without reason." "Then maybe I'm not like other rich people," Catherine said quietly. "Maybe I'm just someone who's lonely and found something real in this apartment." The honesty hung between them. Vincent felt something shift in his chest, a dangerous warmth spreading through him. "You're making it hard for me to keep my distance," he admitted. "Good, because I don't want distance anymore." Their eyes met and held. The attraction had been building for weeks, unspoken but undeniable. Catherine saw in Vincent everything she had been missing in her carefully controlled life. He saw in her the vulnerability hidden beneath designer suits and corporate armor. The warning. The next morning at the coffee shop, Vincent's coworker Rachel pulled him aside. "Vincent, I need to talk to you about something." "What's wrong?" Rachel looked uncomfortable. "That woman who's been visiting you, Catherine Monroe." I looked her up. "She's the CEO of Monroe Industries. She's worth hundreds of millions. I know who she is. Do you? Because people are talking. The other workers have seen her picking you up sometimes. They're saying things." Vincent felt his jaw tighten. "What kind of things?" "That you're using her for money. That you're playing some kind of game." Rachel touched his arm gently. "I know that's not true, but I'm worried about you." "What happens when she gets bored? When she realizes you're from two different worlds?" The words hit harder than Vincent wanted to admit. He had been wondering the same thing late at night, staring at his ceiling. Benjamin's arrival. That evening, Vincent was walking Sophie home from school when a sleek black car pulled up beside them. The window rolled down, revealing a man in his early 40s with sharp features and calculating eyes. "You must be Vincent Torres," the man said smoothly. "I'm Benjamin Hayes, Catherine's ex-husband." Vincent instinctively pulled Sophie closer. "What do you want?" Benjamin stepped out of the car, his expensive suit and confident posture marking him as someone used to getting what he wanted. "Just to have a friendly conversation. About Catherine." "Sophie, go wait by the building door," Vincent said. His daughter obeyed, sensing the tension. "I'll make this simple," Benjamin said. "Catherine has a pattern. She finds projects, people she thinks she can save. She throws money and attention at them until the novelty wears off. Then she moves on. Catherine isn't like that." Benjamin laughed coldly. "You've known her for what, a month?" "I was married to her for 5 years. She's incapable of real love. All she knows is control and acquisition. Right now, you're her newest acquisition. A poor single father she can feel good about helping. You're wrong about her." "Am I? Did she tell you why our marriage really ended?" "She wanted to merge our companies, to create an empire. When I refused, when I wanted something more personal than a business partnership, she ended it. Catherine Monroe only knows how to consume and conquer. She doesn't know how to love." That night, Vincent lay awake long after Sophie fell asleep. Benjamin's words circled his mind like vultures. Was Catherine really just playing at charity? Was he a project that would be abandoned once the novelty wore off? He thought about the growing feelings in his chest, the dangerous hope that maybe someone like Catherine could truly care about someone like him. The fear of Sophie getting attached to someone who would eventually leave was overwhelming. His phone buzzed with a text from Catherine. "Thinking about you both. Can I bring breakfast tomorrow morning?" Vincent stared at the message for a long time before typing back, "We need to talk." The confrontation, Catherine arrived the next morning with pastries and coffee, but her smile faded when she saw Vincent's expression. "What's wrong?" "Benjamin came to see me yesterday." Catherine went pale. "What did he say?" "That I'm a project. That you collect broken people until you get bored." Vincent's voice was steady, but his hands shook. "Tell me he's wrong, Catherine. Tell me this is real." Catherine set down the food and faced him directly. "Benjamin is my ex-husband for a reason. He's manipulative and cruel, but I understand why his words affected you." "Then tell me the truth. What am I to you? What is Sophie to you?" The truth revealed, Catherine's eyes filled with tears. "You want the truth? Fine. I've been lonely my entire life. I built a company, made millions, had everything society says should make me happy, and I was miserable. Then I walked into a coffee shop and met a man who smiled at strangers despite working himself to exhaustion. A man who loved his daughter so completely that it made my chest hurt." She took a shaky breath. "Sophie's drawing said, 'My family and Miss Catherine.' Do you know what that did to me? I've never been anyone's family. I've never had someone look at me the way Sophie does, with pure, uncomplicated love. The way you look at me sometimes, like I'm more than my bank account." Vincent felt his resolve cracking. "I'm terrified, Catherine. Terrified of letting you in and having you leave. Sophie has already lost her mother. I can't let her lose someone else she cares about." "Then don't," Catherine said fiercely. "I'm not going anywhere. I'm here because this tiny apartment feels more like home than my penthouse ever has. I'm here because your daughter makes me laugh and you make me feel human again." A leap of faith. Vincent closed the distance between them. "I need you to promise me something. Anything. Promise me that if you're going to be part of our lives, you're all in. No half measures. No walking away when things get complicated." Catherine took his face in her hands. "I promise. I'm all in, Vincent. Completely." Their lips met in a kiss that felt like coming home. Outside the apartment, the city hummed with its usual chaos, but inside, two people from impossibly different worlds found something neither had dared hope for anymore. Real, honest, transformative love. From her bedroom, Sophie peeked out and smiled before quietly closing her door. Her drawing had been right all along. They were becoming a family. 2 months after their first kiss, Catherine and Vincent's relationship could no longer be hidden. Catherine had started arriving at the coffee shop during lunch hours, sitting at the corner table while Vincent worked. Sophie had begun calling Catherine Aunt Catherine and then simply Cath, a nickname that made Catherine's heart swell every time she heard it. The whispers started small. Customers at Sunrise Café noticed the way Vincent's face lit up when Catherine walked in. Employees at Monroe Industries saw their CEO leaving work early, something she had never done in 15 years. Rachel watched with concern as her friend fell deeper in love with a woman from a different universe. "Vincent, people are talking," Rachel said one afternoon while they cleaned the espresso machine. "They're saying Catherine is slumming it. That she's going to break your heart." Vincent's jaw tightened. "Let them talk. I know what we have is real. But what about Sophie? If this ends badly, she'll be devastated." "It won't end badly," Vincent said with more confidence than he felt. "Catherine loves us." Rachel wanted to believe him. She truly did. But she had seen too many fairy tales turn into nightmares. The office rumors at Monroe Industries, the gossip was worse. Catherine's assistant, Jennifer, tried to shield her from the worst of it, but pieces filtered through. The executive team whispered during meetings. Junior employees speculated in break rooms. "Did you hear the CEO is dating some barista?" "I heard he has a kid." "She's probably just playing house until she gets bored." "My cousin saw them at the park last weekend. She was dressed down, acting like a regular mom." "It's bizarre." Catherine ignored it all until one day in the conference room. During a quarterly review meeting, one of her senior managers made a comment. "We're concerned about your focus." "Catherine," Thomas Warren said carefully, "your decisions lately have been unusual. Less aggressive. We're wondering if personal matters are affecting your judgment." Catherine's eyes went cold. "My personal life is none of your concern. My company performance speaks for itself. Unless you have actual data showing declining profits." Thomas shifted uncomfortably. No, but the optics of your relationship with someone so far below your social standing could affect investor confidence. The room went silent. Catherine stood slowly, her voice deadly calm. Vincent Torres is worth 10 of anyone in this room, including me. If any of you have a problem with whom I choose to spend my time with, there's the door. I built this company and I'll run it as I see fit. Benjamin Hayes had been waiting for his moment. As a major shareholder in Monroe Industries and CEO of his own competing firm, he had both the motive and means to strike. The opportunity came when a business magazine reached out for a profile on Catherine's recent success. The reporter, eager for a sensational angle, contacted Benjamin for comments. He was more than happy to provide them. Catherine has always been driven by image, Benjamin told the reporter smoothly. Her current relationship seems to be another attempt to rehabilitate her public persona. Dating someone from a working-class background makes her seem more relatable, more human. It's a calculated move. Are you suggesting the relationship isn't genuine? The reporter pressed. I'm suggesting that Catherine Monroe doesn't do anything without a strategic reason. This man and his child are props in her latest rebranding campaign. The article came out 3 days later. The headline read, Ice Queen melts for barista, love or PR stunt. Vincent found out when a customer showed him the article on their phone. His hands shook as he read Benjamin's quotes, each word a poisoned dart aimed at the fragile happiness he had built. Catherine called him immediately. Vincent, I'm so sorry. Benjamin gave an interview and twisted everything. I'm having my lawyers look into defamation charges. Is any of it true? Vincent's voice was quiet. What? No! Vincent, you can't believe that I'm using you. I don't, Vincent said, but his voice wavered. But everyone else does. Your employees, my customers, people I don't even know are discussing whether our relationship is real. Sophie heard some kids at school talking about it. She came home crying, asking if you were pretending to love us. Catherine felt her heart shatter. Tell Sophie I love her. Tell her I love both of you more than anything. Then you need to decide, Catherine, because this is only going to get worse. Benjamin isn't going to stop. Your world isn't going to accept me, and I can't have Sophie hurt in the crossfire. What are you saying? Vincent closed his eyes. Maybe we should take a break. Give things time to cool down. No, Catherine said firmly. Absolutely not. That's exactly what Benjamin wants. Vincent, I'm not giving up on us. I'm trying to protect my daughter, and I'm trying to protect our family, Catherine shot back. Because that's what we are now, a family. Do you think I care what some reporter or my ex-husband says about us? Vincent's choice. That evening, Vincent sat with Sophie at their small kitchen table. His daughter's eyes were red from crying. Do people really think Kath is pretending? Sophie asked quietly. Vincent took a deep breath. Some people don't understand how special what we have is. They think people from different backgrounds can't really love each other. But that's stupid, Sophie said with the blunt wisdom of children. Love doesn't care about money. You're right. It doesn't. Then why are you sad, Daddy? Vincent pulled his daughter into his lap. Because I'm scared. Scared of you getting hurt. Scared of not being enough for someone like Catherine. Sophie put her small hands on his cheeks. Daddy, you're enough. You're always enough. And Kath loves us. I know she does. She looks at us the way you look at me, out of the mouths of children. Vincent realized his 6-year-old daughter understood love better than he did. The stand, the next morning, Vincent called Catherine. I'm sorry about yesterday. I let fear take over. I understand why you were scared, Catherine replied. But here's the thing, Vincent continued. I'm done being scared. I'm done letting people like Benjamin dictate our lives. If you're willing to fight for us, then so am I. Vincent Torres, I would fight armies for you and Sophie. Then let's show them what real love looks like. The public declaration Catherine called a press conference that afternoon. Her PR team was horrified, but she didn't care. Standing in front of cameras and reporters, she spoke from the heart. I've spent my entire life building walls, Catherine began. I've been called ruthless, cold, calculating. And I measured everything by profit margins and quarterly returns. Then I met Vincent Torres and his daughter Sophie, and they reminded me what actually matters. She looked directly into the cameras. Vincent is a single father who works multiple jobs to provide for his child. He shows up every day with kindness and grace despite exhaustion. He's taught me more about strength and love in 3 months than I learned in 40 years. And yes, we're together. Not for publicity, not for image, but because what we have is real. Catherine's voice grew stronger. To anyone who has a problem with our relationship because of our different backgrounds, I have this to say. Your narrow-mindedness is your problem, not ours. Love doesn't check bank accounts. It doesn't care about social status. And I'm not apologizing for finding happiness. Vincent's response. That evening, Vincent appeared on a local news segment that had been hounding him for an interview. He wore his best shirt and spoke clearly. Catherine Monroe is the most genuine person I've ever met, he said simply. She doesn't treat my daughter like a charity case. She treats her like family. She doesn't look down on me for being a barista. She sees me as an equal partner. That's not a PR stunt. That's love, the interviewer pressed. But aren't you concerned about the criticism? People saying you're with her for money? Vincent smiled. People can say whatever they want. I know the truth. I wake up every day grateful that Catherine chose us. And I'm going to spend the rest of my life making sure she never regrets it. The transformation. The public response surprised everyone. While some critics remained skeptical, most people were moved by their obvious sincerity. Social media exploded with support. Real love began trending. Other people shared their own stories of cross-class relationships that succeeded despite societal pressure. Benjamin's plan had backfired spectacularly. Instead of dividing them, the controversy had strengthened their bond and turned them into symbols of authentic love. More importantly, Catherine made real changes. She started a foundation to help single parents with childcare and job training. She implemented better wages and benefits at her company. She wasn't performing charity. She was genuinely trying to make the world better for people like Vincent. 6 months later, on a Saturday morning, Catherine sat in Vincent and Sophie's apartment. Now their shared apartment since she had moved in 2 months prior. Sophie was teaching her how to braid hair, a skill Catherine had never learned. You're getting better. Kath, Sophie encouraged as Catherine fumbled with the strands. Vincent watched from the kitchen doorway, coffee in hand, his heart full. Who would have thought? He mused. Catherine looked up. Thought what? That the most powerful woman in the city would be sitting on our old couch, learning to braid hair from a 6-year-old. Catherine smiled, that real genuine smile that only appeared around them. This is power. This right here. Love, family, belonging. The rest is just numbers on a screen. Sophie hugged Catherine tight. Can I tell you a secret, Kath? Of course, sweetheart. I used to wish every night for a mom. And then you came. Catherine's eyes filled with tears. She looked at Vincent, who had tears in his own eyes. I used to wish for a family, she whispered. And then I found you both. The proposal. That night, after Sophie was asleep, Vincent led Catherine to the rooftop of their building. The city sparkled below them, but his focus was entirely on her. I know we come from different worlds, Vincent began. I know I can't give you mansions or private jets, but I can give you every piece of my heart. I can promise you real love, honest partnership, and a little girl who adores you. He pulled out a simple ring. Nothing expensive, but chosen with care. Catherine Monroe, will you marry me? Will you officially become part of our family? Catherine laughed through her tears. Yes, 1,000 times yes. And just so you know, I'm giving you every piece of my heart, too. You and Sophie saved me from a life that looked successful, but felt empty. They kissed under the stars. Two people from impossible different backgrounds who had found everything they needed in each other. Below, in her bedroom window, Sophie watched and smiled. Her family was complete. The single father, the millionaire boss, and the little girl who had brought them together. Their love had transformed all three of them, proving that the best things in life can't be bought or planned. They can only be found when you open your heart to unexpected possibilities, and they lived not in a fairy tale ending, but in the beautiful, complicated, real beginning of a life built on genuine love, mutual respect, and the courage to believe that love truly does conquer all. The end.